We're going to go through some fun pictures of some carboxylic acids, esters, and amides that you probably encounter in your everyday life that are kind of interesting. First of all, formic acid. This is the littlest of all of the carboxylic acids. Formic acid is its common everyday name, but its real name would be methanoic acid. And so you maybe you haven't experienced formic acid in your skin, but it's like a irritating, itchy, rashy sort of a feeling, and it's a defense mechanism that's used by insects as well as some plants. Acetic acid, which I have already talked about, the official name of acetic acid is ethanoic acid, and it is the chemical that gives vinegar its characteristic taste, and it's also a byproduct of wine going bad, fermenting. So if you've ever drank wine that was left open for too long or went bad, that is acetic acid is what you're tasting in that bad wine. Hexanoic acid, which is a terrible smell, described as fatty, cheesy, waxy, like goats and barnyard animals. I think it smells like vomit. It's a very disgusting carboxylic acid. These are glycolic acid and lactic acid. These are alpha hydroxy acids, or AHAs, which you've probably heard of these before. These are carboxylic acids that are really good at they're really good exfoliants. So they're good at like gently removing the very top dead layer of our skin. They're called alpha hydroxy acids because they contain, so in addition to, here's the carboxylic acid part of the molecule, they both have the carboxylic acid part of the molecule. They also contain this extra OH, which is called hydroxy. This guy. And the location of that hydroxy is in the alpha. It's located in the alpha position. So let me back some of this stuff up because I don't think I have an eraser anymore. So on a carboxylic acid, when we look at the carbon of the carbon-oxygen double bond, the carbon that's directly attached to it is called the alpha carbon. So again, here's our carbon-oxygen double bond. This guy is called the alpha carbon, and the next one out is called the beta carbon. So this is an alternative way of numbering the carbon chain. Rather than using 1, 2, 3, we're using these Greek letters alpha and beta. And so for alpha hydroxy acids, they all have an OH on the alpha carbon. And that's what makes them good exfoliators. We also have beta hydroxy acids. The most common is salicylic acid. Let's look at, oh boy, that covers that up. Well, let me put the numbers in here. So here's the carboxylic acid. This is the alpha carbon. This is the beta carbon. And that makes the letters disappear. You can see that the OH is attached to the beta carbon, which makes it a beta hydroxy acid. The most common beta hydroxy acid is salicylic acid, which is used for a whole variety of different skin treatments. Low levels, like 2% beta hydroxy acids, can be left on your skin indefinitely, and that's pretty common in anti-acne medication, stuff that you would rub directly on your skin. It's also added to face wash and stuff like that. 3% topical cream is a little bit more intense, and depending on how sensitive your skin is, you may not be able to tolerate a 3% cream, and you might need to put it on for a little while but then remove it so that it doesn't irritate your skin. And then the highest percentage that you can get over the counter is 17%, which is super hardcore. That is typically used for wart removal. You can drop that right onto a wart and it's going to eat it right up. Here are some structures of carboxylic acids that are used for over-the-counter pain medication. Aspirin, which is this guy right here. Ibuprofen, which is this guy right here. You can see they have the carboxylic acid group. And naproxen, carboxylic acid group. These are all substances that our body uses to block the production of prostaglandins, which are associated with inflammation and pain. Here is an ester. This is methyl salicylate. So let's look at, here's its ester group right there. And this is really effective at helping relieve pain. Just by giving us, you've probably all used something like Tiger Balm, Icy Hot, whatever. It gives you like that nice warm but also cooling feeling that just sort of relieves general aches and pains. Topical. Melatonin is an amide. Here's the amide part of melatonin right there. And I love this dog. This is not my dog, but I do love this dog. Melatonin is a chemical that is synthesized in our brain, and recently, well, by recently, within the last quite a few years, people have started to develop hypotheses about the association between melatonin and sleepiness. We have found that when it is physically dark, like as in when it is dark, our body produces higher levels of melatonin, and when it is physically light outside, our body has lower levels of melatonin. So it is pretty logical to make an assumption that there's a connection between the amount of melatonin in our brain and our sleepiness. But there are still quite a bit of studies left to do before we can determine for sure how melatonin is tied to our sleep cycle. And then we also have this is last but not least, a ester right here and an amide. These are both local anesthetics. So a local anesthetic is something that does not make you fall asleep like a general anesthetic, and local meaning it provides pain relief in just one localized area, so not throughout your whole entire body. And these substances, benzocaine, which is on the left, and lidocaine, which is on the right, these are typically associated with oral pain relief, but they are used for other purposes too, not just mouth stuff. These are the Oragel, which is benzocaine. This is just over the counter that you can get if you have a toothache at home, and you can apply it. It doesn't have a super long lifetime because you're just applying it topically. This lidocaine, this would be like for your muscles. Looks like it's a roll-on thing for a sore muscle. Here's lidocaine like your doctor or dentist would have. It looks like it's ready to be injected. Could slide a syringe right down in there and suck some of that stuff up. And we all know when we have an injection of lidocaine, whether it's in our mouth for dental work or if it is somewhere on your skin, like you're having a small minor procedure done, that pain relief lasts significantly longer than either one of these topical type of things.